A little disappointed, obviously, in how we continued to play throughout the course of the game. Came out strong. Thought we executed extremely high level. The first and third drive, especially, it's just it's hard to sustain that play after play, and they do a good job, not just with their great personnel, but their schemes as well. So as the game went on, I felt like in the second quarter there was a couple just easy, simple things that we do well that we missed opportunities on. But I thought in the third quarter, we got in the locker room and said, hey, it's a one-score game. And I thought in the third quarter we came out with a lot of fight, even overcame a third and super long, or in the second and I think 29 on the first possession. And I thought that showed a lot of grit with our guys. Moved the ball down the field and just the drives, when you have to sustain drives. I think we're on our own 15 by that time, starting that drive after the penalty. And, it's hard to sustain drives against a really good defense to finish in the end zone. Opportunity at the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter as well, to try to put points on the board there. Went for it on fourth down. But, it's hard to sustain, that level of execution that we had early in the game. And I know our guys, didn't quit and kept fighting. Overcoming adversity at times too. So, love our offense, love our team. Any questions?
In a game like this, where you're almost looking in a mirror as far as scheming offensively, Jeff Brom obviously does very good as well. How important is it going to be to have longer, sustained drives to keep the ball out of their hands?
Yeah, I think we naturally do that. I think, that's I feel like always been kind of an identity of our offense is, we have our opportunities where we have our explosive plays, but we're not a fast tempo offense, the ability here and there to do it. But I think, trying to play a team game and to win. And I think because we, execute at a high level and have a lot of completions, the clock keeps running and the game gets short. And, I think you could argue that Saturday's game was probably a 11 possession game, 11, and that's counting the last drive at the very end too. So they're going to be shortened games when we're involved. There's probably going to come down to close games, and we just got to make those plays at the critical times. But I think our offense naturally keeps the other team off the field. Obviously you got to convert on third down and do all those things, but the clock is usually running, and we try to do our best to keep the defense fresh.
Coach, this was really the first game after those first two possessions where you guys struggled to score in a long time.
Yeah.
Now this group has been so confident all year long about that. Do you have any concerns at all about those last 44 minutes and it carrying over this week at all?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I just, and I went and talked to these guys about that this morning. I said, let's give some respect to who we were playing to, and when we're able to play our game, I think that's a lot of it. When the games are close and we're able to kind of do what we need to do and then wait to hit our big plays, that's when we're at our best. Really, there's been two games that have gotten away from us: Ohio State and this last game. And those have been the two that we struggled the most. And so I just told our guys, I said, not a lot of other teams have moved the ball very well. I think maybe Wisconsin has really had success at all against Michigan. I think they had the ball a lot, So I got to give credit where credit's due. Look ourselves in the mirror and figure out where we can get better, and just understand that we're still the same offense. So let's not dig too deep into this, and let's just regroup, have that confidence. And again, I feel like there was confidence in the third quarter, and we moved the ball down the field, got to a 4th and 1, converted. The holding call, had to punt. The next drive, moving the ball, I felt like, we had a chance on the 3rd and 10 with D. Hale along the sideline. Tough call right there with the catch. And then another drive at the end of the third quarter where we went the length of the field and got down to the 3. So I think there's still things within the game that happened where we moved the ball even after we had struggled in the second quarter. And, in the fourth quarter, the last, 8 minutes, we're just, trying to shorten the game, kind of beat up there. So, just gotta make sure don't let Michigan beat us twice, I think is the biggest thing. So, I looked at guys in the eyes, and I felt like there was a lot of confidence. They believe in who we are, and that, next week's going to be back to, what we've done all year long.
Coach, what kind of challenges does the Purdue defense give to you?
Yeah, I think, that we've seen a lot of multiple looks the last few weeks, and that's, again, what we're going to have. A lot of different looks with the fronts and the coverages. So it's nothing that we're not accustomed to. Just got to dial in on what, Purdue likes to do and their tendencies, and then also just kind of figure out how they perceive us. I think that's really what it comes down to. Each team that we're getting, I think, because of our success, we're getting some pretty good shots thrown at us with game plans, and people are ready. And, you can see a plan in place with these teams that we're playing, and I'm sure Purdue will be the same. And we just got to look to think about how are they going to perceive us, what are they going to try to stop, and we got to be able to counter.
If I know Matt Bedford is kind of I guess, still to be determined for Saturday. If he can't go, is the preference to move Caleb to the left and have Devondre in there on the right? Is that based on Caleb's experience, or maybe where Devondre is more comfortable, a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think it's both, and that's what we would do if Matt's not able to go. So, that's what we went to in the game on Saturday, and a lot of it's Devondre is much more comfortable, and Caleb has taken reps at different times throughout the year. Even before Matt was in that position, Caleb was kind of the guy that we would go to, in fall camp to replace Kronk. So that would be certainly the adjustment that we would take.
What are you learning about the history and the tradition of the rival game, and are there any rivalry games that you can kind of draw from?
Right.
yourself?
Yeah. No. I remember walking through the halls, the end of January and or late January, and seeing signs on the wall, and figuring that it was the last game of the season, and so those signs were just still in place. Well, they're still up. So it's quick. Certainly didn't take long to understand how important this game is. For us, and I'm sure for Purdue as well. And, rivalries are fun. They're fun to be a part of. That's what college football is all about, and sports in general. So, excited to just, I think the whole thing is you can't get too caught up in it. You got to understand that there's an intensity level, but you just got to do what you do. You got to go through the week, give it everything you got. And again, it just comes down to, hopefully our guys still being relaxed enough and not being tight, because this is a rivalry game to where they can just cut it loose and play ball. And again, you give it everything you got and live with the results. And that's how I approach every single game. That's how I approached 11 games so far this year, and that's exactly how I'll approach this week. Preparation and doing your job throughout the course of the week will lead to confidence, and the confidence leads to execution on Saturdays. And I think that's been a pretty good formula for us.
With Stevie, we don't know if he's available yet. I mean, in terms of Sampson and Ronnie, how much of those two guys, how confident are you in their ability to pick things up? And Sampson, how much has he grown?
Right. Yeah, I think Sampson's. This is the opportunity, and getting him out there. At the end of the game, just to get. I think he got 8 or 9 carries. Was, I thought, important. Just for him to feel. You see him, what he can bring. When he hits someone, the pile usually is moving forward. He's very heavy in his running style, and it was nice to see him sneak through a little seam and pop a little explosive play off on Saturday night late in the game as well. So, or I guess that was the third quarter. No, it was the fourth quarter. But I think they're probably different styles between Ronnie and Sampson. So certainly a lot of confidence. Ronnie's been on the field a lot for us. In critical moments, he's good in protection. Both great in the pass game too. So really have no problems with those guys. Obviously, Stevie is who he is, and the experience factor and all of that is important. It's something that if he cannot go, that's a loss.
If Stevie can't go, I know earlier in the year you guys gave David Ellis some carries back there. Could he be a factor? And what does he bring as a guy with his ability with the, after catching the ball, his receiver skills at running back?
Right. Yeah. No, he is definitely a guy that could be back there and feel very comfortable with him back there. And I think a lot depends on how everything shakes out with all of our positions, at the receiver, because he's valuable and just got kind of different guys at different spots that are kind of working through things. So he's a very intriguing player for us that we can use in a lot of spots. I have no problem him carrying the ball. He takes reps with the tailbacks in all our drills that we do throughout the course of the week, and he's done that all year. So have no problem with him playing there as well. So he's someone we'll have to use in practice, for that, if that situation comes up.